Hello. Happy Thursday. I am Tina Cannon of Jaded Designs. And doing a quick recap on the webinar from last night, a couple of book recommendations, and a couple of tips on how to get started and as a fashion brand. Whether you're interested in being a boutique or if you're interested in styling, no matter what it is, if you're interested in fashion, sewing, anything like that, I'm gonna just drop tips that have helped me and hopefully they'll help you too. Come on in, grab your coffee, your wine, all that stuff. Come on in and have a seat. Now, I'm actually on my way out, so this is not going to be too long. The webinar from last night was launching a new product. Basically, it made a lot of things simpler as far as our marketing, our building funnels, building websites, building courses, made it so much easier. A couple of weeks prior, we had to actually go through and work through the tweaks of building funnels and seeing how it's built and making sure that it worked. And the new system that was launched last night, I was excited about it because I like simplicity, period, in my business. Anything that keeps me from moving forward at the rate that I truly want to, I get frustrated. And I understand that life and business is not always cookie cutter, nor is it fly by night. I just watched a live with my coach, and going behind her is something. That woman's so G. Shout out to Coach Sabir. She's so G, period. Like, that's the most G female I know. And she always has a beautiful attitude about life. So no matter what happens, she always has a positive something to say about it. So back to the webinar. Watching the webinar from a business standpoint, like, is this something that's just to get me all excited about another way to spend my money, or is this something that I actually need? Anything that moves your business forward, whether you're in fashion, marketing, real estate, whatever it is that you're doing, anything that moves your business forward in a way that makes things simple, easy to use, and easy to understand is always a plus. Now, moving towards two book recommendations. Two book recommendation was the one book, Doership, the Disciples of Doership, which it may be out of print, but even just hearing the excerpts from the book was like, this is some boss ass shit that really a lot of people in business really need to know, because as entrepreneurs, especially in fashion, we're so feeble and weak mentally. Like, the first time someone tells us no, we scrap our whole collection, we scrap our whole business idea. And that same person that tells you no will turn around and take your idea and market it for you. So the second book that I want to recommend is Start With Why by Simon Sinek. And that's just another book that I was actually listening to on Audible. I get free Audible credits when I spend money on Amazon. Like, when I order supplies, bags, or do shipping through Amazon, they always give me free credits to Audible. So with those Audible credits, I end up downloading audiobooks, which is much easier for me because then I don't have to sit down and read the book. I can actually listen to it. For the week, just noticing how many people in my life are like passing away. Recently, literally just got news that somebody I saw last week died. And I'm like, week before that, my cousin passed. Week before that, somebody else I knew passed. So I'm learning to cherish life, because truly tomorrow is not promised. No matter how healthy we are, no matter how many herbs we drink and how much we run, life is not guaranteed. So condolences to all the people who have lost someone recently or even in the past. Like, that is hard. And especially when those who are running or operating businesses, it takes a toll on you. So first thing, negotiations versus manipulation. That's really what I want to talk about as far as fashion. In businesses, for brands and corporations, there is a lot of marketing tactics and techniques that are more so manipulation than actually negotiations or inspiration for people to buy. When you're offering a promotion, sales, breaking, any of those things, those are actually things to play on your emotions as an entrepreneur or even as a consumer to get you to buy? How many times have we dropped our prices on a collection that we just wanted to move out the door? Dropping prices, for me, sometimes it shows that you don't value what you're doing, because if you're spending $50 a yard on fabric, and let's say your wholesale price might be $200, your retail price might be $450 or above, but when you're discounting that, you're taking away from your actual take-home price. So sales are good, but sales are also one of those things that fall up under manipulation strategies. The more I started studying marketing, first of all, in fashion school, they didn't teach it. I don't know if it was just, it wasn't offered, or if it wasn't offered in a way that made sense for me in real life. The classes that I took, they put marketing completely separate from us actually learning how to design, how to make patterns, and how to actually do those things. But marketing is very important if you're an entrepreneur in business, because if you can be the most creative person in the world, but if you don't know how to move your stuff, then it does you no good. I actually learned marketing from hustlers I knew. And I don't know how else to say that. Like, they was hustlers. Whether it was streetwalkers or put pimps, pedophiles, whatever it was, like they was hustlers. Not to say pedophiles, my bad. But from people that was actually on the streets, like they taught me no matter what it was, I could sell ice to a penguin, I could sell water to a whale, like those things, but it was true. Learning the art of actually giving people stuff, sometimes stuff that they don't even need, just so you can come make a profit. I never wanted to be a sleazy salesperson. I always wanted to help people by sharing my story or something that I learned along the way. And looking at life and seeing a lot of people, a lot of elders, not even a lot of, it's not always even old people. It's a lot of young people that's putting dickens, being buried now as well. And it's like, what are we doing? We spend our life, 40 some odd years of our life working for someone else who teaches us these tactics, who never want us to brand ourselves. Like when you're working for another company, they never want you to brand yourself first. They always say, well, you got to wear your t-shirt with my brand on there. And if you're caught marketing yourself, 9 times out of 10, you're usually fired. So although I typically say it's so much better to work for yourself, I'm not telling anybody to go out and quit their job, but I do believe that if you can work 40 hours plus for someone else, you can put that same effort and mentality into your own brand, into your own business. Life is not promised, but death sure is. This year, I have been working on doing more things that I actually want. Meaning, hey, Margaret. Margaret says you have to decide what you are willing to project with what you do. What do you stand for? And that was really another one of the points, like, who are you in business? Who are you? What are you standing for? And what will you say no to? A lot of people, if you offer them a certain enough money, they'll sell their own churn. They'll sell their own family members. And it's weird to say, like, when did we get to a place where money was more important than quality? The more I studied marketing, the more I learned everything is marketing, from cereal commercials to fur coats to everything is marketing. And it's the art of being able to sell what you have to someone else who may be a sucker or who may be an actual informed buyer. There's always one of the two in the crowd. Meeting other women in business, it was mostly, once you got past the cattiness, the prejudice, sometimes the overt racial stuff. A lot of fashion shows, I would show up as the designer, but the person that hired me would automatically send me to the kitchen. I don't work in the kitchen, ho. And then it would be, oh, you're rude. But the first thing you did was move. You see me with a garment bag and you ushered me to the kitchen, or you ushered me to the cleaning position. Not that I'm above those things, and I will still do those things. Let money get low enough, I will be all up in it, cleaning it, cooking it, frying it. Yes, but I haven't had a job since I moved from Houston. And that was, I think, the last W-2 I got from working for somebody else was from Macy's. I was a bra fitter in the Macy's lingerie department. I worked Macy's, Saks, and Nordstrom's. And Nordstrom's and Saks, I was a professional dresser. So when they had their fashion shows, I was a person in the back pulling the looks, doing the alterations, and sending the models down when they would do their fashion shows. But since then, I haven't worked for anybody else. And I'm not saying that to pat myself on the back. I was just like, I couldn't see myself continuing to work for somebody for less than $50 an hour doing majority of the work. Same reason for same thing goes as in the military. God bless our troops and all of that. And I'm glad if that's your life and your role, more power to you. But, and even as an ex-veteran, when I was working in the hospital, the true reason why I got out of the military and like did my time and moved the fuck on was because I worked in a hospital. I was an EMT, so I worked in the emergency room and I worked labor and delivery. Two of the most eye-opening places to work as an African-American female. First of all, when you go to the hospital, they don't care nothing about you. You're a number. Sorry to say it, but you're a number. The faster they can get you in and out and the more drugs that they can pump into you, the more they get paid. So it's a business. So which moved me to become a doula. I do a lot of things. And at the heart of all the things that I do, it was always service first. It was always sharing my story, because a lot of women deal with trauma and then they carry that trauma into their business, and then they carry that business stuff into the community. And it's a big pot of bullshit. Like, it's a big pot of, we not dealing with our stuff. So when I started teaching and networking and working in actual businesses, those are some of the first things that I work on. So the manipulation that's done in marketing and in your brands and in your business, if you have a quality product, it does not matter, because there is a difference between repeat customers and loyal customers. Repeat customers will buy anything because your price is right, whether it might be cheap. They come back, but they're not coming for substance. They're just coming because they're easily won over by other people. They may come over and over, but they come because of the manipulation, sales. They come because of promotion. They come because of price breaking, rebates. They come because of all of those things. But loyal customers, you can't sway a loyal customer from up under your brand, no matter who it is, no matter whether it's a better brand out there or not. They fuck with you 100% 10 toes down. And there are a lot of people who say they're loyal customers, but they're really actually just out for themselves. Not saying that they shouldn't be, but you have to know why your clients are coming, why your customers are coming, and why you're actually in business. If you're in business for a quick dollar, fashion not it. Sorry to say. You can make a lot of money in fashion. I do everything from styling to pattern making to pattern grading, fashion shows, event production. I do all of those things, but those seasons have highs and lows. Those seasons have, pretty much highs and lows. Like, yes, there's always someone who is pregnant. Yes, there's always someone who is looking for a gown. But in our communities, there are not a lot of people who are used to paying for a $7,000 bridal gown. We usually have to go outside. We usually have to go outside of our communities to get the money that we're looking for. And as much as I want to say, well, I want to just work with Black women, it's not a lot of Black women that actually are used to having their clothes tailored. Not saying that they don't, but when you ask for a quote to have your pants hemmed, the cleanest charge is $19.50. So why would you have an issue with paying $19.50 for something that you're going to wear for the next 5 years? We're used to fast fashion. And because of the sales and the promotion and, oh, well, it's a deal. But with fast fashion, it's cheap, it's quick, and it normally ends up in a landfill for somebody else that looks like me to have to clean it up or have to figure out what to do with it, because there's over $7 billion worth of fast fashion, which is Target, Forever 21, places like that. There's landfills full of that stuff that gets shipped to third world countries. And when we're done with fast fashion, because, oh, now it has pills in it, now it's cheap. When you knew it was cheap when you bought it. I tell all my clients to buy quality, even with t-shirts, like, because those things end up in landfills where people of color usually have to go through those things, and people of color usually have to try to figure out what to do. But there's so much fashion in landfills because everything is trendy and we don't think about what we're doing. We're not eco-friendly when it comes to fashion. I typically only sew on cotton, silk, and wool, unless a client says that they can't afford that. But even with that, for the coaching clients or the people that I help, I deal with mindset first, because African Americans that are here, or even indigenous Americans that are here, we have been so beat down mentally. We carry the ancestral DNA of our forefathers and foremothers. So all the pain and the things that they went through, we carry that in our DNA. And there has never really been a person to come back and say, well, we need to work on our mindset and what we were taught, because a lot of things that we were taught, period, from foundation up, was a lie. A lot of the history that you have about your people is a lie. So as much as people will think that fashion has nothing to do with psychology, I'm specific about what I do. I know that you feel better when you dress, when you look, when you are mentally balanced. So although to someone else, it may be yards of silk, it may be yards of Ankara or kiddish or wax fabric, but for me, it's an open door because everybody needs clothes, period. The one thing I learned in marketing was, or even in fashion shows and networking, was people judge you by your clothes before they see you. I intentionally look low key when I go and buy stuff because I want to see how you're going to treat me. I want to know how you're going to treat me. Can I wear $5,000 suits? Yeah. Am I comfortable in those? I like to play in the mud. I'm a country girl. So a lot of times I'll be somewhere off in the mud or out in the woods. So 5,000 suits don't suit my day-to-day lifestyle. But when I have to go to fashion shows and fashion week, I show up and I don't look like the help. But a lot of times my skin color gets me ushered to the back, even though on paperwork, my name looks European. My first name is Susie. So on paperwork, oh my God, we love to work with you. And then I show up with locks and all kinds of things. And they're like, oh, you're the new kitchen help. No, ma'am, I'm not. I'm the person that you're about to pay for all of this stuff. Please don't make me walk out, because I'll walk out on money. A lot of people won't. There's no amount of money worth my dignity. There's no amount of money worth my pride. And there's no amount of money worth me being able to pass on my legacy to my children. There's no one more important than me loving me and my family, my community. So if you missed the webinar, check it out. I included the link. If you are interested in starting a fashion brand, know why you're starting a fashion brand, know who you want to help. And by help, that does not mean giving your business away. That means what knowledge can you pass on to the next generation? What can you teach someone to do? Because something as simple as threading your machine, you can teach a class on that and make $10 for each person. Now, it may sound like, well, why would you pay $10? Because someone who really wants to know how to sew will pay you for your time. They will invest in themselves by investing in you. When I started out in fashion, it was hard for me to receive money. It was hard for me to receive a certain amount of money because it would scare me. Even saying it out loud, it would scare me. Like I would write it down and I would make my vision boards and I would write it. And I was like, I want to make this certain amount of money. And when people would bring, or even when I would get close to it, I would run. Like, may not physically run, but spiritually, emotionally, I would run away from making the money that I wanted. But I know that you cannot help your people. You cannot help yourself broke. Broke is a mindset. Poverty is a mindset. You can't help anybody with a broken mindset or a broken pocket, because let's say your cause is homeless veterans. That's one of my causes. One of the things I support, hands down, no questions. I can't help homeless veterans if I don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. Period. So last night I was taught a good little nugget. Use your brain cells to get you out of situations. Like, sell your brain cells, sell your knowledge. And I just so happen to have a lot of knowledge about a lot of different things, from herbs to military ways and hospitals and birth and clothing and making patterns. Like, I have a lot of knowledge about a lot of things. So I wanted to jump on, share a couple of things, and I will be doing a networking event in the month of March. I may be going to Mardi Gras. I want to. Like, my favorite thing about Mardi Gras, subject change, but my favorite thing about Mardi Gras is the celebration of my culture. I am indigenous and I'm also African. So the Native American Indians, I rock with them, and I love the Indian suits, and I love the culture, and I love the powwows and the Indian practice. I love that. So I don't really go to Mardi Gras for the carnivals, because less than 50 years ago, less than 50 years ago, I wasn't even allowed, like people like me wasn't even allowed to go on Canal. It wasn't even allowed to go on St. Charles. So how dare I keep going to Mardi Gras to celebrate cultures that didn't accept me? I go to the things that are deeply rooted in my history. Like sometimes, like my first Mardi Gras, before I learned the history of it, I was like, yay, beads. But it's so much bigger than that. Like we really couldn't go on Canal Street to celebrate with everybody else because of our color. But yet now that the Indians are more coming out, I guess, or people are learning more about indigenous culture and learning about the Mardi Gras Indians. Now they pay thousands of dollars for those suits, and it still comes back to the craft that I have. Hand sewing, handwork, and beading with the needles and thread. Whether you use a sewing machine or whether you are decorating or creating your rebellion with needle and thread, if fashion is in you, you have a whole world of ways to interpret that. So I hope you guys got a couple of tips. And I am Tina Cannon, your fashion concierge. I do everything from styling, sewing, pattern making, and all of those things. I share fashion tips, sewing tips, and I teach you how to market in a way that makes sense for your lifestyle. I go live Monday through Friday around 12:30-ish. And if you have questions or want to jump in the group link is in the bio. The replay for the webinar is in the bio. And I think that's really pretty much it. No bells, no whistles, just me. Appreciate yourself, love yourself, and love those people who came before you, because you never know when somebody you love will be gone. So love y'all, love and light. Have a beautiful day.